Hello everyone, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button. I junk journal and I slow stitch sustainably, and I'm here to show you a little flip through of this very sweet journal that I've made out of a pillbox for a swap on the, let me see if I can get it right. It is Junk Journal in UK Community Chat Room group on Facebook. Very, very good, positive group that I'm a member of, and I don't do all of the swaps because I think these groups have millions of swaps on for everybody's tastes, but every so often I look at one and go, oh, I'd like to make that. Okay, I'll do that one. So this is my Flower Fairies pillbox journal. So we're meant to do 2 signatures, I think 10 pages in each signature, and I will be swapping it with somebody at the end of the month. So it's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch for the 2 signatures, and I started it so that the strings would all be on the outside rather than the in, to use the strings for the closure. The closure has little ceramic pink beads. Can I do it so it's in shot? The little ceramic pink beads, and then I've got the little scraps of the inside kind of on each side, and they've been glued so that the bead won't go anywhere. The kind of only dangly bit really of the actual extra bows. So it's Flower Fairies. The things that I've used besides the scraps of material, and there's some other odds and ends out of my scrap basket. So there's some jelly print paper, there's like stamped images on book pages, there may be the odd stamp or the odd scrap of paper, and the pages I think are all I have a dictionary, kind of thickish dictionary paper, and a woodworking book, I think so. So the imagery is mainly flower fairies that come from a flower fairy book that I kind of cut down and took the smaller images out for this journal, but I probably have enough for another 5 journals. Yeah, it's quite a lot for a £1 book from the charity shop. A little bit of fussy cutting in front of the TV. I've taken some of the words out of the book to use. I've used the material as well throughout. And there's also, because it's masterboarded, that's a bit of Victorian letter. Yeah. The other main source of imagery is a catalogue from a local garden centre that kind of comes through the door. You know, those sort of advertising magazines. So there we go. That's the outside. She's having a look. The end papers are jelly plate print that kind of went a bit wrong. That's why it's ended up in my scrap box with on a dictionary paper, just to make it sort of neat, hide all the folding over of the masterboard. So here we go. Some of them are, and I find this, if I'm making it, say I'm making it for the sake of making it, or if I'm making it for a swap, I'll probably look at the materials and see what the materials say to me about what I can do with it, and then there will be repeated themes. So I found lots of flower fairies that were about that big in that book, and I used the garden centre catalogue, had lots of images of flowers with their names on them, and I turned them into seed packets, very simply. So they are the main source of imagery, and you know, a variety of ways to house a seed packet or a homemade envelope in an interesting way. That's it. There's nothing stressful about it. It's not overly complicated. It's very sort of stick in. The mixed media bits are bits from my scrap box, and then I've sort of put gold pen around the outside of some of the things, and stamped images in book pages that I sort of have in a tin. So I was just pulling things from a tin rather than actually cutting things out. So it was a very simple, joyful kind of I did it when I was off work, and I was off work with a cold. I had clean hands all the time I worked on it. I didn't sneeze on it, and it has been in quarantine. But I get anxious if I'm off work. I get anxious about the work building up. Ironically, I work in mental health, but there you go. So I need something that will calm my nervous system, and this worked a treat. Initially cutting the flower fairies out and processing the magazine, but then deciding to do this swap and just sort of going with it. I couldn't focus on work, and I could do this and put it down and pick it up, put it down and pick it up, sort of when I was feeling anxious. So that's why there's not a lot of thought gone into it, because I didn't have a lot of thought or a lot of brain space to do thinking. So we've got little images from the catalogue. This is a solar powered light that's becoming a lantern lighting up this little fairy. And here we are, another seed packet. There's going to be loads of seed packets. I tried to slightly coordinate them with the whatever was going on in the foreground, but not necessarily. Like, this salvia is not at all coordinated. It's made me want to do the garden. Doing this journal, I was like, oh, might be the year to do the garden, or to make some fundamental changes. So we've got a scrap of the fabric. This is a Prima by Designs Ladybird. These are from the Flower Fairy book. That's a graphics fairy cup that came from a scrap. Everything's a little pocket, but I haven't put everything, a pocket in everything. I've not put everything, every pocket doesn't have something in it. There we go, put my words in the right order. Just because it would be too bulky. It would be way too bulky. So this is a pocket, but it's just a lovely image. Letting it do its own talking. This is a printed butterfly. I'm not sure where it's from. It's just from my scrap pile, and I put it onto some of the cereal packet to make it a card. Another one of the little seed packets. This is a Tim Holt stamp on vintage book paper. This is jelly print stuff that's just from a scrap box, so it's not anything special. The little strawberry fairies on it, and then I put some white gel pen. Really nothing complicated. This is a stamp from the Garden Centre magazine, a scrap of the fabric that I used on the outside. This is from the Garden Centre magazine as well. Wordage, so I used some word from the Garden Centre magazine, and I also used words from the book throughout. More of the ubiquitous seed packets, scrap of the fabric, and this is from the book as well. Here you can see more words from the book. No, from the magazine. This is a Prima by Designs B. You get a big, it's like in a big pack of Prima by Designs. You use it on furniture typically. And yeah, you just get a big pack of all kinds of bees and butterflies. Yeah, kind of creatures. These are background flowers from that magazine. And a little flower fairy. And you can see like the background paper there is how you make sort of built-in cupboards. There we go. Now we've got, this is a Crafty Individuals, so that's a Prima by Designs. This is a Crafty Individuals bee stamp. I love bees. Like, I would, both of these stamps, I will happily stamp them onto some fabric and get some yellow and black thread and sort of thread paint them out and make a bee that way. Like, I love a bee. So we've got, this is from the magazine. There's just like a big picture of a sort of meadow type situation, and then some sort of coordinating fabric and another seed packet. Just a little very simple pocket from the book with a seed packet. Again, wordage from that magazine, just the strip of the fabric to make a very simple belly band. Tim Holt's label stamped in a book page, another seed packet. We've got wordage from the book, Fragrant Flowers, one of the fairies, and a seed packet. Stamps. I don't know where that ticket stamp is from, but I do use it a lot. Scrap of the material from the book, and then the seed packet. This is a Tim Holtz stamp. Bits from the magazine, scrap of fabric, and seed packet. You're kind of getting the picture. Seed packet, little man. Finding Joy in Life is from the book. And then these are scraps of fabric and the flowers around. So the flowers were sort of around the pages, and so there's a straight line in between there. There's two of those bits put together, and that's where the fabric's sort of hiding that seam. I tried to, where I could, coordinate the seed packets with the little fairies. I've managed to do that with these two, and he's got an extra little label that's a Tim Holtz label on Vintage Book Page. It's a stamp clock, graphics fairy rose, little tiny one that's from the front cover of the dust sheet of this book that I processed, seed packets. Interesting little bit from the magazine that I just cut out. This is from the magazine. Those sort of flowers at the edge of the page and a seed packet. Makes a lovely belly band. Very simple one, just a fairy and a seed packet. Label, bit of the foliage from the book, and a lovely little ballerina girl. And then I coordinated the seed packet with that purple flower there. This is a stamp with a little strawberry fairy. This is a stamp barn star. I've got 3 of them. I've got like a small, a medium and a large. I don't know where they're from, but they're very useful. This is a really good stamp again. I don't know where it's from, but it is very useful, and you can see in 2 different colours. That is a Tim Holtz stamp. That is butterfly that's been stuck. It's from a napkin stuck onto card and then fussy cut out and then sort of edged in paint. And this is the very end of a massive batch that I did a couple of years ago and filled a huge tin. Just sort of, again, I find repetitive, the preparing of resources to be really good just for soothing. You know, I've got anxiety. It's just really good for my anxiety. There you go. I don't know what else to say about that. But I know some people find things like that tedious. And this is why I feel that I can do the sort of only using sustainable things and processing everything myself, because I quite like a fussy cut. I quite like a tedious sort of processing of things to get it to a place where you can use it. I enjoy that part of the process. So this is from the book, Frolicking with Wild Abandon, with a little tiny one doing just that. And this is a kind of, it was a larger picture that I've ripped down, and you might have noticed this has been throughout the little book. So it's a picture like of it's like an English cottage garden border where it's just full of flowers that are all this pinky purple. I was getting lots of like feelings of, oh, I should do our garden. It'll happen. So we've got Recycling Revolution, again from this magazine. This is really what I'm about, is recycling. Yep, a seed packet. And it's a recycled book. That's what junk journals are. So we've got this lovely little centre spread of the second page, and she has her flower there. I've tried to coordinate with the flowers out of the magazine. This, the other side of the jelly print. Very sweet little guy. This again is from the magazine. I just liked it because it had the bee. Well, it's 2 bees, and I was just like, oh, they're big bumbles. Look at those. I'm amazed how they actually get off the ground, bumblebees. So we've got a very sweet, again, that sort of meadow kind of picture that's been ripped down to form the belly band. Really lovely little picture there. Seed packet, comfort and connection. This is from the magazine. Into sort of diagonal belly band. We've got a Prima by Designs rose that's just come from my scrapbook bag. So it's been something that I've kind of had, or was it in a tin? One or the other. It's been stamped out, I've cut it out, and then it's been put to one side. Again, because I like that repetitive nature. We have another seed packet. When I said they were ubiquitous, I really meant it. It's a lovely little cluster, the stamp, little wee fairy. This is another one of those. It's been a napkin that's been laid on book page this time that I fussy cut out to make a little element. This is a little bag that's been made from the book, and you can see this is the flowers that sort of were edging and around the outsides of the pages, and that's what I've been using throughout. We've got a scrap of ancient atlas that is like an antique atlas, that Victorian one. Prima by Designs Ladybird or Ladybug, depending on where you live. I'm sure there's lots of words for them, but Ladybird. Barn Stars, I don't know where they're from. I just know they're in my kit, so I think they're probably from the cover of a magazine. Seed packet. That's just a scrap of the magazine. We've got this lovely little one. That's a little bit from the napkin, made in the same manner as the other things from napkin. Kind and Mild Flower Fairies. That's a bit of IOD stamp, I believe. And we've got a ticket that I don't know where it's from. A stamp into vintage book page. This is just from the magazine to make a pocket. Ever-present seed packet. We've got an empty pocket for the back. And there we go. So I will be putting this together in a little happy mail. And I thought what I would do is, because I think the partners are going to be announced at the end of the month or the beginning of June, I thought what I would do is make another video, kind of now, almost, of the things that I would put in a happy mail. Now, I've done vintage button boxes of goodness. It's very similar to what I would put in a happy mail. And it's just scraps and bits and pieces from around the craft room. But when you package them up really nice, they all look like a bit of a present. So I thought I would do a vintage button guide to happy mail next. That'll go with this. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little tour, this little flip through of this Flower Fairies junk journal. And I will see you soon. If you're still here and you found value, please give me a like, a little thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell. I do post about 3-4 videos a week. And I'm consistent on a Sunday for a slow stitch one. The other ones are various days, so have that little bell and you will see what I've put out. Give me a comment. Let me know, do you like Flower Fairies? What kind of journals do you make? I like a flower. I'm big whimsy. I'm not in real life. I'm actually quite practical and forthright, but I'm liking the whimsy. It's kind of returning myself back to my childhood, I think. I'm very into nostalgia as well. So I like a flower fairy. Let me know what kind of things you like to make out of a junk journal. Do you limit yourself like I limited myself with the things I could use because I was literally sat on my sofa? How do you go about making a junk journal? Let me know in those comments. I'm really interested to connect with other people, especially like-minded junk journalists. Alright then, talk to you soon. Bye bye.